Hi Camila, we're going to start off with the Allegro Maestoso from Handel's Water Music. That's page 4 in your 50 Classical Themes book. And let's go ahead and just play through it slowly so that if you've got any rhythmic things, you kind of notice where those are and you can mark them and work on them. Feel free to play this video often. You've got it on YouTube as long as YouTube exists. So feel free to play with it a couple of times so that you get the rhythm all the way right. So let's start from the top. I'm going to count to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Rest. Okay, you might have noticed in there I added 2 little trills. A trill is when you just take the note above the one that's written and you just kind of go really fast up to that note. So the third note from the end, the E, you can add a trill there. So let's add TR above the third note from the end. It'll look just like this, TR. Or if you want to write it all the way out, trill is spelled T-R-I-L-L. And that's going to sound just like this. So you're going to play E1, and you're just going to go up to F sharp with your second finger as fast as you can. See if you can do that. So the last 2 bars will sound like this. Let's do that together. Ready? Go. And you might have noticed I started that trill on the upper note, on the F sharp, the second finger. Often you'll start the trill from the note above and come down to the note that's actually written. So I'm going F sharp, E, starting on the F sharp, like this. So you can work on that. There's 2 other opportunities for a trill like that in this piece. The other one is on measure 34, the third note. That's a dotted half note on an E. You can add a trill right there. And here I wrote out the word trill, T-R-I-L-L, above that E in measure 34. And then the other opportunity for it is in measure 10 on the third note. Also happens to be an E. So that's kind of handy. They're all the same note. And what a trill does is it's just kind of a flashy way to get everybody's attention. Bra-dum-bum, right before an ending, usually. So let's try those 2 other spots. Let's go to measure 34, and this trill will sound like this. That's measure 34 and 1 note into 35. One more time. So it's F sharp, G, F sharp, E, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, land on the E, and then D, D. And a little faster, it'll sound like this. It'll be slow at first, but you'll quickly pick it up. Feel free to stop the video and practice those things while we're going. The other spot is measure 10, which happens to be the same note as the other two spots as well. So measure 10 will sound exactly the same. Okay, another thing that you can do to make this piece really shine is whenever you've got the little pattern that's bum 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 ba da da dum bum 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 ba da da dum, like in measure 5, you can add a little crescendo. So if you look at measure 5, right where we marked forte, you're going to crescendo those 4 repeated notes. Bum, 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 and getting louder through those 4 notes. Ba-da-dum. And then you can do that same thing at the end of that line. Bum, 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 ba-da-dum. So put a little crescendo there in measure 6, the end of measure 6. You've got a couple spots that you can do that same thing. At the very bottom of the first page, last measure, you can add it there. After the forte, crescendo those 4 repeated notes. And then in measure 19, at the top of page 2, you have another opportunity. Bum, 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 ba-da-dum. And then I would do that also in measure 22. After the double forte that we wrote, add a crescendo. Bum, 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 bum. Crescendo those 4 repeated notes. Here's a hint. Anytime you have repeated notes, you should probably get louder. That goes for 99% of music, by the way. And then you can do that same thing in bar 23 on those C sharps. 1, 2, 3, 4. They'll get louder as well. You can do that in measure 31 after your forte. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to emphasize with a little accent the 4th repeated note. Bum, 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 ba-da-dum. Bum, 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 ba-da-dum. And it'll sound really nice. Let's see. You got the one in measure 31, and that's all of them. Okay, good. Let's try those starting in, where's a good spot? How about let's start in measure 4, just as a good place we can both start. Okay, so I'm gonna listen for those crescendos after the forte. So here's measure 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sense? Okay, let's do the same thing. The last 3 notes of the first page. By the way, it's the same music. Starting the last 3 notes. So I'm going to count to 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. Let's see. Some other spots we should probably go over. Last week, line 22, measure 22, 23, 24, were pretty tricky. So let's take that one slowly so you get a little opportunity to really focus in on that. Here's measure 22. Let's go really slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's the hard part. Let's do it just a little bit faster. And remember, you can always rewind YouTube videos. All right, measure 22, a little faster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. Let's talk a little bit about the bow hold right before we go today. So every once in a while, I'll see your pinky kind of start to look like this. And just a reminder that you always want to have your pinky sitting on top of the bow because it controls the tip of the bow, the up and down motion of the tip. So you got to develop this muscle. This has got to be a really strong muscle. So if this is kind of difficult for you to do and keep it curvy and bendy like this, just get a squeeze ball and squeeze it on your way to school or wherever you guys are headed out in the car. Just squeeze your hand so you develop that pinky muscle. You can always just squeeze your backpack or squeeze your knee. You don't have to have a special squeezy ball, but it takes a bit of muscle to hold the tip of the bow up. So you can also do this little exercise, pinky push-ups. And then a reminder that all of your fingers should be about, well, maybe not your pinky, but they should all be about 1 finger space apart and not too much more than that. So your pinky controls the tip. These 2 fingers control the roll of the bow. You know, we usually play with our bow kind of tilted like this on the viola. This way. Not this direction, of course. That'll sound really funky. But this way. So these fingers kind of control that roll. And then you want to have this finger wrapped around, kind of looking like the letter J, because it controls this motion of the bow. Or if you put it on the viola, it controls the tip in this direction. So just make sure that all of your fingers are curvy, bent, and strong. All right, I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Take care.